Welcome to Beyond Film School. I'm Amber and I know a lot about being a production assistant, becoming a production assistant, where you can go wrong and what you should be doing. And if I knew these things when I started, I would probably be a lot further in my career. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to my channel so you don't miss all the videos I make on the film industry. And if you really want to be on the up and up, make sure to hit up that notification bell. I am too familiar with the struggle of what it is to be a production assistant, how hard it is. It is very hard. It's hard. It is hard to get that first gig, but it is even harder to stay on set, meaning to keep getting gigs, to stay in the industry. It's even harder. You think breaking in is hard? Staying there is even harder. Now, there is a reason why attitude is going to be the #1 tip, the first tip that we are discussing. Your attitude will affect everything. It affects everything. It will directly affect your career and it will make it or break it. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. I know they're thinking about, where do I get the jobs? How do I find jobs? Where do I go online to find these PA jobs? Now, before we even start looking at jobs, we need to adjust your attitude, and I really do mean that. When people start thinking about getting a career in the film industry, they really start getting down on themselves when it comes to looking for jobs, and they start saying things like, I can't find any jobs, no one wants to hire me, there's too much competition, I don't know anybody, no one knows me. All those things are going to ruin it for you. Listen, I had a big fat goose egg of people I knew in the industry. I didn't know anybody in the industry, in the union world, in the indie world whatsoever.
Wait, what?
I didn't know anybody in the industry, in the union world, in the indie world whatsoever. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and they even had a film community there. I knew no one. No one knew who I was. I didn't have like an uncle that was an AD. I didn't have like a producer aunt or something like that. So I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that it is possible, because I'm able to have a career in the film industry, and I knew 0 people starting out. So it is definitely possible. If you have an attitude that says, oh, I don't know anybody, I can't, and you have this mindset and this attitude about the cards are stacked against you, listen, you're not gonna get very far. With that kind of attitude, you're not gonna find jobs, you're not gonna get jobs, and no one's gonna hire you. And ultimately, you're not gonna work in film at all. And we don't want that. I want you to have a great career. I want you to know that you can do this. You can work in the film industry. You can make it happen. It is not impossible, because I did it. I am a poor girl from Buffalo, and I was able to do it. You can't be negative. If you're going to be negative, even going into the job search, you're not gonna get hired, you're not gonna be able to become a set PA, then move up to production coordinator, then move up to producer one day. So it is going to affect the whole chain. The whole chain of things starts even before you step on set, even before you start looking for jobs. You need to go into it with a positive attitude, a positive mindset. Just wash away all the negativity. Now just think about it really quick. Your attitude going into looking for jobs on Mandy or Facebook groups or any film websites that have job postings, your attitude is going to affect whether or not you're going to be looking for jobs, how hard you're looking for jobs. So you really have to stay positive. You can't give up. You cannot give up. Now that's the bonus tip within this tip video for PAs is persistence is key. You cannot give up. Persistence is going to be everything. If you are talented, talent is only going to get you so far. And why do I say that? Because if talent doesn't meet persistence, then that talent is wasted. It kind of goes into my story when I broke into the industry, into the union world. How am I gonna get on the big shows? That's what I was always wondering. How am I gonna do it? When I moved to New York City, and you can check out my breakout story, I'll have the video above. When I moved to New York City, what I was doing was I was cold emailing hundreds, if not thousands of people in the New York City area that were in the production world, and I was just saying, hey, I'm new to New York City, trying to be a set PA. If you have anything for, if you need anyone for a project, blah, blah, blah. I did the whole thing. And I got hundreds and hundreds of basically nothing, dead air, nothing was happening. But if I didn't get that one email if I gave up and I didn't get that one email that I finally got that gave me a tip off, probably wouldn't be where I am today. But along with that, what was happening is that I was staying positive. I was like, this is gonna work. I'm going to get something. I did not give up. And your attitude is going to affect all of that. Now, your attitude on set. Say you got your first gig. Say you're stepping onto an indie film set, or say you're stepping onto a union show. Whatever it is, that first day, your attitude is going to affect the tone of the rest of your career. You're gonna start building a reputation, and you do not want it to be a bad one. You want a good reputation, because a good reputation is what is going to keep getting you gigs. It's gonna keep getting you work. You're gonna keep building and building and building. People are gonna wanna hire you more. The funny thing about film sets is that you really get to know the people you work with. So when you step on set, the people that you're working with are going to get to know you very, very quickly. ADs and your key PA, your bosses essentially, the key PA and the ADs, are not gonna wanna deal with someone who has a negative vibe about them. They don't wanna work with assholes, and they don't wanna work with someone who's gonna make their day harder. So it is up to you to make sure that you are seen in a good light. I'm gonna be the first to tell you, as a first AD, no one wants to deal with the new PA that has a horrible attitude. And I'm gonna let you in a little secret. That new PA that had a horrible attitude, that was me. I had a horrible attitude when I stepped on set. I thought I knew everything. Sometimes I was confused, and I was like, this is bullshit, this doesn't make sense, why are they doing things this way? And it took a lot of time for me to realize that my attitude was what was hindering me getting gigs. So don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes. Do not have a horrible attitude. I thought I deserved more on set, and that's the whole thing, is that like you're going to be battling some ego things as a PA. You're new on set. The thing is, when I first started, I used to work in the camera department, so I thought I had enough experience to do more than just a set PA in the corner and do lockups. You know, lockups are when you block things from coming into the frame, or when you keep people quiet when they're rolling. So when I was put on a lockup, I was just like, what am I doing here? This is useless. Not knowing that these beginning days of my career are going to set the tone. And it really took a while for me to make a connection and make sure that I could show that I was willing to work hard. And that's another thing we should get into in these videos, is your ego, because you gotta let that just go, because your ego is only gonna feed into your bad attitude. So what's having a good attitude? Just give you a few examples of having a good attitude. Be a yes and person. Be a yes person. People are going to ask you to do certain things, and you should be happy to do something. Because let me tell you this, it's really, really hard when you're first starting out and you're doing lockups in a corner of a stage or on a corner of a busy New York City street, and you're really, really bored. You want to be close to the action. You know, I know what that craving is like, but you just have to sit back, do that task, whatever they gave you, do it to the best of your ability, make sure they can trust you, and then they're gonna give you more responsibility. And take every task like that. Every task is a test. Be someone who's gonna be like, yes, let's do it. I'm going to grab that coffee, and it's gonna be the best damn coffee of your life. Oh, you want me to lock up that corner where 50 people are trying to cross the street? You got it. I'm gonna try my best. That is the type of thing that you need to be doing when you're on set. Like, they're gonna give you some impossible things, some stupid things, some things you don't understand, and it is your job to just do it the best you can and do it with a smile. Now, another way that you can have a good attitude is offering help. You know, just helping people that might need it. Now, does this mean that you walk up to the first AD every 5 minutes and say, hey, can I help you with something? Hey, can I help you with something? Hey, can I help you with something? No, that is not what you're gonna do. When you see someone, maybe they're carrying too much stuff, or at the end of your night, before you take off and the key PA says, hey, you know, you're good for the night. Say, hey, do you need anything else before I go? Or ask your ADs, before I leave for the night, is there anything else I can help you with? So those are the type of things. Being helpful, but, you know, not too helpful. Speaking as an AD, we like the go-getters on set. We don't like the people who are like, what? We like the people who are like, yes. So when you're given something to do, just be happy to do it. Now, just doing what is asked of you may seem like a no-brainer, but I have to tell you that it's that whole common sense thing that isn't so common, because there's always some PA that you're dealing with that always wants to give some pushback when you give them a task. you know, and just a lot of people don't want to deal with that. So it may seem like a no-brainer, but it has to be said. The only time, and I will say this, the only time that you should give any pushback is if they ask you to do anything unsafe. You may be like, hey, I don't feel safe doing that. That's something I don't want to do. Then totally, you have grounds to say that. Just keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's just like, do what you're told and just try to do it to the best of your ability. So we talked about having a good attitude and a positive mindset when you're applying for jobs. We talked about how you're gonna have a good attitude on set. Now, after you leave set, this also comes into play. Having a good attitude after you leave set. Now, what happens on set, I'm gonna say what happens on set stays on set. What happens on set, sometimes you might make a mistake. Maybe someone yelled at you. Maybe something horrible like happened to you or whatever. Maybe it's like you were humiliated, something embarrassing happened. Whatever the case may be, set days are not always gonna be perfect. And when you leave a set day, you have to make sure that you know that mistakes are gonna happen, that you did your best, and you're going to improve. So you have to have a good attitude afterwards as well. And like when you reflect on your day, try not to beat yourself up. You're talking about like 12+ hour days. That's like, I mean 14, 16, 18 hour days. That's superhuman as far as I'm concerned. So don't beat yourself up after you leave set either. And just make sure you're like, you know what, I did my best, whatever. And I can tell you about a time where like there were some horrible set days. Crying, tears, the whole 9 yards when it comes to certain bad days when I've been on set. But I go in the next day, fresh, clear, with a good attitude, ready to go. And I encourage you, stay positive before, have a good attitude on set, stay positive, have a good attitude after you leave set as well. Your attitude is going to affect every stage in the game for you. And also don't forget to smile. Smiling goes a real long way. And I just want to say that there are some rough personalities in the film industry. There are some real assholes on set. Don't be one of those people. Don't add to the pile of assholes of people who work in the film industry. Don't be one of those people. Be one of the people that lift people up on set, that brighten people's day. Focus. Focus. Now, staying focused is really going to affect everything, even before you start becoming a set PA on set. Now, I'm not talking about paying attention. That's a little bit different, and we're gonna get to that a little bit later in the tips. I'm talking about where are you putting your effort? What are you thinking about? What are you doing to get you where you need to be? All those things are focus. Now, let me tell you where I went wrong.
It's story time.
When I first graduated college, I was pretty much obsessed with trying to find how to use my degree, which was media production, and mix that with travel somehow. I was so obsessed trying to find something that was gonna mix the two. At the same time, I was also planning to relocate to Los Angeles and make my way into the film industry and be part of production out on the West Coast. While planning my relocation to LA, I was trying to find a job before I actually moved out there. So I was applying for jobs that were already there in LA, and I was still in Buffalo. So I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and I was trying to make the move to LA, and I wanted to make sure that I tried to secure a job before I actually moved out there. Now here's what happened. I was just coming off a life high basically when I just ended my semester studying abroad in Australia, and I pretty much was like, I want to travel more, I want to do this, and that's pretty much where my mindset was. I was very, very focused on traveling. While looking for a job in Los Angeles for some type of production job, maybe production coordinator, set PA out there, or whatever, I was looking for production jobs. But what I also was doing was I was just like obsessively trying to apply to as many cruise ship companies as possible as a videographer, because I was thinking like, well, most cruise ships have photographers, they have to have videographers, so I was like, oh, video editing and then traveling on a cruise ship is like the perfect thing for me. So I sent out like so many applications, resumes, I put my demo reel together to make sure they could look at it. I was doing everything in my power to make sure that my application was in tip-top shape when it came to applying for the cruise videographer jobs on all the cruise lines. So like pretty much my focus, my mindset was like way over there on the side where it was like travel, videographer, yes, cruise ship, yes, yes, yes. And then I was like putting like maybe 20-30% effort into getting a job in Los Angeles where I was planning to actually relocate. So you can tell like where the story is going. My focus was not in the right area. Or maybe it was. Did I get the film job? No. Did I get the cruise ship job? Yes. I ended up working on a cruise ship for 2 years and I would never take it back. It has been some of the most rewarding, times of my life, and I would never take it back. But has it set me back in my film career? Maybe, but it also gave me more life experience before I actually got to my film career. I was way, 100%, 1000% more focused on getting the cruise ship travel job than I was getting the production LA job. So that is the moral of the story here. Focus. I put my focus and effort and everything. I was doing what I needed to do. I was making all the applications. I was doing my demo reel, making sure that I knew how to edit and shoot and all that stuff for the videographer job. But I wasn't doing what I needed to do for production jobs in LA. Now, while cruise ship life back in the day, when I actually worked in a cruise ship, was really nice, awesome, I got to travel the world, blah, 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 it wasn't the film industry. Working on a cruise ship is not working on a film set, people. Let me be the first to tell you, it is not working on a film set. So let me just say that I kind of felt left out a little bit. I was like, I still want to work on the film industry. I was really kind of like, I'm missing some of the things, because before I actually started working on the cruise ship, I was working in between semesters on film sets. I was doing a lot of client stuff while I was doing my internship. So there was a lot of stuff I missed about being in the film industry. And I was like, I need to be working in the film industry. But here's the thing, is I made the mistake again about focus. I made the mistake. So I got off the cruise ship. I was like, I'm gonna move from LA, I'm gonna move to New York. I relocated to New York. One thing they tell you about when you start to embark on the film journey, the film career journey, is that you need a side hustle. You need a job that's going to be flexible enough, because you're not gonna get the days that you think you're gonna get. You're not gonna be working full time. You're not gonna be doing Monday through Friday. You may get 1 or 2 days. Maybe 1 a week, maybe 3 a week if you're lucky. If you've built it up enough, maybe you'll start working 3, 4, 5 days a week. But when you first start out, you are not getting 5 days a week. You're just not. So I became obsessed with trying to figure out how to get my side job, how to get my flexible job. I became so infatuated with the idea of being a barista. Now, I had been a bartender in the past when I lived in Buffalo, and I was like, I don't want to be a bartender, I want to be a barista. I really don't know why, I just didn't become a bartender. It might have been easier, but I was obsessed with becoming a New York City barista, and I wanted to learn how to be a barista. I had never been a barista before. So when I moved to New York, and the first thing I did was like, look for my barista job. Was I looking for my film job? No. Was I cold emailing, like I said in my last video? Yes, but I wasn't quite looking for the film jobs like I should have been. I was obsessed. I was really focused on getting my barista job. So did I get my barista job first? Yes, I did. And it took me a long time before I actually got my film job. What you focus on is what is going to come your way. What you are thinking about all the time is what is going to manifest in your life. If you want to work in film, if you want to work in the film industry, you have to 100% focus on that goal. Now, I'm talking research, watch YouTube videos, take trainings, film workshops, film networking events, Zoom meetings, anything you can get your hands on that talks about film, getting into the film industry, expanding your skill set in the film world, do it. Focus on that, because if you focus on your skills and what is going to get you further in your film career is what is going to manifest in your real life. It is what is going to get you that film job that you want. You're gonna meet people this way. That's networking, ding, 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 networking. We'll talk about networking in a later video, but those are the things you need in order to make sure that you get a job in the film industry, that you get that gig, that you keep working, and that you get on set. Don't make my mistake. Focus your efforts where you want to be. Wherever you want to be in your life, in your film career, starting out, changing careers, who knows what your goal is. Just make sure whatever your goal is, you're focusing on that goal. Focus your efforts on what you really want. If that's being a New York City union set PA on some top shows, you can make it happen if you just focus. I will be the first to tell you that there's going to be things happening in your life. Stuff happens. I mean, family issues. People get married, people want to go on vacation, tragedies happen. So many things are going to be happening in your life that may distract you, but it's your job to make sure you stay focused on whatever you're trying to make happen in your life. You have to be focused. This video is brought to you by the Beyond Film School Set PA Starter Kit. I personally curated this kit myself to make sure that you can have and find all the things you need to make sure you can kill it on set. It might be your very first day on a film set, or you might be upping your game to make sure you're more prepared. Either way, this kit will have you prepared, feeling confident, and you are going to be looking like a more trusted seasoned PA straight out the gate. This kit also includes an awesome book by Daniel Scarpati, Gophers on the Front Lines of TV and Film. It is a really great book to let you know what you are getting yourself into if you are just starting out in film. My only wish is that something like this existed when I first started out in film, so I'm trying to give that to you to make sure you are more confident on your first day on set. So visit beyondfilmschool.com to get your Set PA starter kit, and that link will be below for you. So knowing your bosses, how is this going to help you? As a brand new green PA on set, it helps to know who's who, but that is the simple part. What about who you're taking orders from, who outranks who, and how many bosses you actually have? Let's start with a big budget union set. We're making another Avengers. I don't know. As a green PA, brand spanking new production assistant, you're most likely going to start as an additional set production assistant. And this turn is going to show you where you fall in the hierarchy and how many people are actually above you. So you're here all the way at the bottom, and then these are all the people above you, and they are your bosses. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, you're there, and it's your first time on set. You need to identify, and this goes for brand new green PAs and seasoned veteran PAs. You need to identify who is who, because just because I'm a seasoned PA doesn't mean I'm gonna know who the director is, who the first AD is. I may not even know these people. So you have to identify who is who, what position they are, what their name is, and what they look like. The first group of people you need to identify are the people who are your bosses, and they're gonna give you stuff to do. As someone just starting out, as an additional set PA, these are the key people you need to know. Your key PA, key production assistant, your second AD, your key second AD, and the first AD. You need to know those people. They're on your team, know who they are. All those key people have the ability to give you tasks throughout the day. You need to know their faces, their names, and their voices, which can be tough, but remember, you're gonna be on a walkie and you may not see them a lot, but you're gonna hear them a lot. The next group of people are your bosses, but they're not really giving you stuff to do. They're more asking for certain things that they may need from you and your department. And these people are gonna be the script supervisor, the director, the producers, and the writers. Now these people, you wanna make sure you know their names and faces, if at all possible. And in this instance, Google is going to be your friend. If there is a name on the call sheet that I have no idea who that is, the first thing I'm going to do is go on IMDb or whatever, and I'm going to Google their name and figure out what they look like. The next group of people that you should know are technically above you, but they're not really your bosses, but they're really important for you to know at least who they are and what they look like. This is going to be the director of photography, some of the cast members that are on set, and the keys or heads of each department on set. Remember, as a production assistant, you are an extension of the assistant directors on set. So you're kind of like the eyes and ears and sometimes the mouth of the ADs. And there's always a time where they're looking for someone that isn't on set that should be. And I swear it's always, where's our DP, the director of photography, or Susan? Who the hell is Susan? Now, usually the ADs aren't using titles all the time. They're just using names of people. And this is where you pull out your call sheet and you're like, you turn on the back, and you're gonna be like, who the hell is Susan? Oh, Susan's the prop master. Because they're not gonna go, oh, Susan, the prop master, let's find her. Which sometimes actually, if they're getting really frustrated, they actually do that. But not all the time, they're not using the titles of the people they need. Now, when the AD is like, where's so-and-so, if you know people's face and the name and what they do, then you can be like, Susan's here at Crafty, do you need her to set? And that, my friends, is what makes you look good. You're helping out the ADs. You're getting someone to set that they need there. As far as the indie film scene is concerned, there are a lot less people on set, so there's really no excuse. You should know every single person, their face, their name, and what they do. It's not a union set where there's hundreds of people on set. It's like maybe 20, 25, 30, maybe 50 people at most, depending on the project. As far as bosses giving you tasks to do when you are working on an indie film, that could be the UPM, the producers, the ADs, any of the ADs, and you might have a key PA if the production is big enough. So you could be getting your cues from a lot of different people. There are a lot of people you have to know. There's no way around it. Learn people's names, what they do, and their faces. But the effort you put into knowing people and their names and what they do goes a real long way, and it just makes you look like a way better PA that pays attention. And that is what gets you more jobs. Paying attention is legit half the battle of the challenges you will face on set or in the film industry. Paying attention is going to help you on 3 fronts, and the first is to know what's going on. As a production assistant, it is your job to inform the crew and the people around you what is happening on set. If you're not paying attention, you're not gonna know what's going on. Therefore, you can't relay the AD's message to the crew. And in essence, what you are doing is you're breaking down the communication. You are directly breaking down the communication of a film set.
This could cause it all to fall apart.
The second front is it makes you look good. Man, there is nothing better than a set PA that knows what's going on, that knows what's happening. Someone has a question and you have answers. That's the best. You're able to do your job properly when you pay attention. The third front is that it's gonna help you learn. You get to watch, study, and learn what's happening around you. And you're gonna pick up on why things are done the way they are. Now, outside of those 3 fronts, there's an ultimate reason why you should be paying attention, and that's safety. A lot of the times there's gonna be some dangerous, some risky things that are happening on set, and you have to make sure you're paying attention for your safety and for other people. They could be people on the crew and pedestrians that could be on the street. You never know. Safety is huge, and paying attention is really, it could be your life, and I really mean that. At the very least, pay attention for your safety and others. I mean, to be honest, if you're not paying attention on set, why are you even there?
Don't waste my time.
I mean, you're there, you might as well watch the magic happen, right? You're working on your dream. You can play on your phone at some whatever 9-to-5 office job. And if anything hasn't hit home yet for you in this video, if you don't pay attention, you look really bad. You start to form a horrible reputation, and ultimately no one is going to hire you. Simple as that. There are more tips coming your way, and that was only number 4. Paying attention is super important. I cannot stress that enough. It's pretty much the basis of the foundation of your film career. If you're not paying attention, Jesus Christ, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Now, all these tips are for everyone just starting out, just trying to start a film career. Maybe you're just trying to figure out how to become a set PA, how to become a better set PA, how to become a director or producer, but usually being a set PA is the first step, and all these tips are going to be useful to everybody just starting to embark on their film career. And if you're trying to work on a film set, if you're trying to work in film, you need to know how to communicate clearly. Communication can really make or break a day on set. And it can really make or break your career as well, how you're seen, and also if you're gonna get jobs or not. So let's start with communication on set. You need to be concise, you have to make sure you're talking at the right volume, you have to make sure there's no fluff in your message to make sure that no one can confuse what you're saying. So you need to make sure that the right information is coming across clearly. There should be no confusion on what needs to get done in what time frame and where, as far as the crew is concerned. So covering that first bit, let's talk about proper volume. Now, if you are just starting out as a PA on set, you're gonna be on a walkie and you're gonna have maybe a couple of crew members around you in person, and you need to make sure that you are talking at a proper volume so people can hear you. Most of the time with people who are new PAs, they tend to be a little bit timid, they tend to be a little confused and hesitant, and they're afraid to kind of open their mouth. You need to make sure that you are loud enough that when they're rolling and when they cut, that the crew can actually hear what you're saying. Also, when it comes to the walkie, if you're too soft-spoken on the walkie, no one's gonna be able to hear you there either. So volume is a really important key part that I have to make sure that you guys know, because a lot of the time they think that it's okay to just be this timid little mouse person, and it's not. You need to be a force on set. You have to be a force on set. So volume is super important. Now the other side of that is obviously being too loud, and this also is a problem for a lot of PAs, strangely enough, because they don't know how to use a surveillance mic. And they have the surveillance mic too close to the mouth and they're screaming into it. Now when you're screaming into a microphone for a walkie, it gets distorted. You can't really hear anything, and it's called eating your mic. If you are the person that is screaming into the walkie, know that no one's going to be able to understand you. So yeah, you may have the volume, but if we can't hear the words that are coming out of your mouth, then you are useless. Also, if you're in a smaller room and you're calling rolls and cuts, there's no reason to scream to the rooftops if there's like a couple people in the room with you. Proper volume, I can't stress that enough. It's super important. So when it comes to volume, there's a balance there. So we gotta make sure that we don't get people who are the mumblers on set, and we have to make sure that we don't get the screamers on set. Now let's talk about being concise. Now, this is really for the talkers out there. You have to make sure that your info is short, sweet, and to the point. No one has time for your life story, the gossip of the day. You can save that for when there's downtime, and that's usually after you wrap. You really don't want any of the information to get mixed up in other bullshit of the day. You don't want that. You have to make sure you're not saying other things to just confuse the hell out of the crew members that just need the vital information. So you have to make sure you're short, sweet, and to the point when you're on set, and you're communicating clearly at a proper volume. Now let's talk about communication outside of set when it comes to your film career. Now, let's talk about interviewing. You want to make sure that you're concise in your answers. You want to make sure that you simplify your answers. When you're talking in an interview, they don't like run-on stories, run-on sentences. Also, when it comes to interviewing, you want to make sure that you're not speaking too slow or speaking too fast, which I know I have a huge bad habit of this, even in my videos. People complain about me talking way too fast. But, you know, when you're interviewing, you have to make sure you're giving pause. You're thinking about what you're saying. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about it. We're talking about the resume now. We talked about interviews, now we're going to talk about the resume, because I have seen hundreds of film resumes throughout my career, and I help people, you know, revise their resumes, and I have seen so much bullshit, fluff, and just things that you just don't want to see on a resume, and it really wastes the person that's hiring you. It wastes their time. So even in your communication on your resume, you are communicating to that person that's hiring you the type of person you are, the type of worker you are, and the type of job you're looking for, and what you can bring to the table for that job. You have to cut out the fluff. You have to be concise and give that person what they need to know about you. So we're getting really deep here because I'm talking about texts, emails, and phone calls. Even these, when people are texting you, hey, are you available tomorrow? Your answer should not be,
you know what, well, what time is the call time? If I get out of work at 6 a.m., will I be able to make a 7 a.m. call? Oh, I have to go to a doctor's appointment tomorrow.
Either you can or you can't. It's a yes or no answer. Can you not? Like, expect a full day when someone asks you, you know, if you can work tomorrow. So keeping texts, phone calls, emails short and to the point is something I wish everyone knew, because people in the film world, or I mean people in general, honestly, just don't have time for paragraphs upon paragraphs in a text or an email. And on the phone too. If someone was calling me and they have like a set question, I will give them the answer, that's it, we hang up. Phone calls should be like 10-15 seconds max if it's a quick question. So keep your emails, texts, and phone calls short. Simplify, simplify, simplify. That's all you need to remember from this video. And to be concise and to simplify actually does take some practice. I will not lie to you. Now, just take a moment, look at your emails that you're writing people. Look at your texts that you're writing people. And they could be personal texts or professional texts or professional emails or whatever. Just look at them and think, oh, I could have took that out, I could have took that out. If it's nothing that they need to know, take it out. I also want you to think back to your last interview. Think about how good or bad you did. Think about a question that maybe you talked too long. If you're starting to get blank stares or people's eyes are like glassing over, then you know you have spoken for too long when someone was interviewing you. Or even if, you know, you might be on a first date or something, you know that you have gone on too long when you start to see it in their face. So just think about those situations, look back and say, you know what could I have shortened? Could I have trimmed this? You know, trim the fat. Trim the fat when you're talking. Trim the fat when you're writing. Trim the fat. Clearly communicating does take practice. Being concise does take practice. So I want you to be kind to yourself, but also reflect on those situations and say, you know what, I could have done this better. And the next time you find yourself in that situation, then you get better at it. It's a step-by-step process. So we're gonna bring this to your first day on set. I do not want you to overthink and have anxiety about making sure you're communicating clearly on set and making sure you're concise and you are having the proper volume. Yes, you should think about all those things, but don't worry so much to the point where you're just frozen and you can't act or you can't react to certain things. It's one step at a time. A lot of the questions that you're going to get on set are usually yes/no answers when you start out as an additional PA. Just know that I don't want you to worry so much. Give yourself a little bit of time to reflect on the day and see how it went. Go over certain scenarios in your head and say, oh, I think that went well. Maybe I could have did better. And just remember to be kind to yourself, because I think some people really do beat themselves up a little bit too harshly. Give yourself a fair evaluation, but just don't overthink it. If your communication skills are lacking, the great news is that it is not something you're born with. It's something that you can sharpen. It is a skill that you can develop, you can get better at. So don't worry too much if you're not a great communicator. Just remember that reflection is going to be your best friend when you're trying to get better at communicating. And then each time you have that opportunity to communicate, you get better and better and better. So I have a little bonus tip within this tip about clearly communicating. Clearly communicating has everything to do with listening. Okay, your listening skills. When you focus on listening to the person that is talking to you, texting you, or emailing you, that's like half the battle of clearly communicating. When that person is talking to you, you are not already trying to think of an answer before they even get the question out to you. Being a good listener that goes a real long way as far as being a clear communicator. So tell me in the comments, is communication hard for you? In-person communication, maybe emailing and texting is like your strong suit, in person's not. What is your communication style? What is your strength? Maybe talk about your communication weakness, because I know sometimes when I'm in person, I get tripped on my words, I get tripped up, I talk too fast and I'm thinking too fast. It's sometimes really, really horrible, especially when I'm stressed out on set. It can get really, really bad. So that was tip number 5, clear communication. Remember, keeping in mind volume, not too loud and not too soft-spoken. Keeping it short, being concise, trimming the fat. And that goes for texts, in person, in email, on your resume, in interviews. This can really be used in all facets of your life. This video is brought to you by the Beyond Film School online Set PA training course. I created the online Set PA course to give anyone that's trying to get into film a chance. My online course gives you everything you need to know to feel more prepared and confident on set. I cover so much in this course, like what a set PA actually does, reading a call sheet, how to get gigs, how to go from set PA to other positions in the film industry, and a ton of other information. Loads of photos, videos, and quizzes. You have the advantage to do this course at your own pace. You also have access to the information for 1 full year of you signing up, just in case you want to go back and review. So visit beyondfilmschool.com to start the online Set PA training course, and that link will be below for you. So the word copy is used a lot on set, and it is also used while on the walkie. Saying copy is to convey that you understand what was just said to you.
Copy. Copy that. Copy.
Copy.
Copy that.
Copy! Do you copy me?
Copy you.
Copy that.
What it isn't is a yes or no answer. I've heard many green PAs or new PAs use this as a yes/no answer, and that is not the correct way to use copy. For example, let's take a look at this scenario. Did you get that coffee the director wanted that I texted you? Copy. Did you or didn't you? Copy. No, copy isn't the right answer. This is a yes or no question. Oh, yes, I did. I got it. Okay, great. Thanks, copy that. I've literally heard this conversation happen on walkie multiple times with different ADs and different PAs involved. Now that we understand how to use copy, you might be asking yourself, what does she mean by just say copy? There are gonna be moments where you f up, make mistakes, and you do the wrong thing on set. When those moments happen, you will be corrected, criticized, and told how to right those wrongs. And I'm hoping that it's constructive criticism, the good feedback. This is the moment where you just say copy. This is the moment. Your key production assistant and your assistant directors on set, your bosses, they don't care why you were late. They don't care why the background wasn't ready. They don't care why you lost an actor. And they don't care why that lady strolled right into the shot when you were supposed to be locking it up. That seems a little rough, right? But let me just tell you this about the key PA and the ADs on set. They don't have the time, mental capacity, and they can't take any more stress, basically, within their day. So you don't want to add to that. You are not there to make their day harder. You're there to make their day and their job easier. You don't want to be that person adding to the stress of the day. You don't want to be that person. So this is why you just say copy. And I know that this can be very, very hard because I have a hard time doing this. When something goes wrong, your human nature wants to just break free and you want to defend yourself. You want to give the reason why you did what you did and why you did it the way you did. You can't do that. You just say copy. Essentially, you just want to defend yourself, and I get that. I really, really understand that. Like, every fiber of my being understands that you want to defend yourself. But I mean, I was that PA that would always defend myself on the walkie, and it didn't get me very far. And the worst part about it is that sometimes when things go wrong, they sometimes are not even your fault, and you have to take the hit. You are taking one for the team, buddy.
Sometimes you gotta take one for the team. Yeah, sack up, dude.
It sucks, I know, but you have to bite your tongue. You have to bite your tongue and just say copy. Now let's look at the pros and cons of this, of this tactic. Now the con is that you are going to feel the injustice. You're going to feel like you are being blamed for the wrong that happened and your bosses just don't know the details on why it happened that way. But the pro to this is that you don't come off argumentative, defensive, and disobedient. And that last word really gets me. I hate it. Small little secret I should let you in on about film sets and the hierarchy and the structure of how film sets are run is it's really military-esque. You know, you fall in line, basically. You do what your bosses want you to do, and that's it. And some people are gonna have a problem with that, and they're gonna have to make a major adjustment to make sure that they succeed in the film world. Now, let's take a look at another example here. I want you to look at the text that is above. And this is a real scenario between a PA and an AD. Now, to give you some context, this is a scenario of a very busy day. There were 10 plus actors, there were stunts happening, there was a kid actor on set. One first team PA was watering the cast, which means they were passing out waters to everybody on set. And the other first team PA was getting 2 contacts for actors to make sure they could hear the dialogue of the other actor across the field. So both first team PAs were busy at the time, and while all that was happening, the first AD decides to yell last looks. Apparently, all of the PAs on set yelling last looks obnoxiously wasn't enough for hair and makeup and wardrobe to hear to make sure they could last look the cast. Now, this scenario that you're looking at happened to me. This happened to me, real life, and did I say to the AD, there was a lot going on, I wasn't able to get back to hair and makeup to tell them last looks, and this is why, and XYZ, and da-da-da-da. No, I just bit my tongue and I just said copy. And by the way, if you are wondering what a first team PA is, that is a set PA that works with the actors. They get them through hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and they get to the set. They are there with the actors all the time. They get them wired, they get them propped, and they keep tabs on them. I have a video on a first team PA if you are looking, you want to know more about what a first team PA does. That video will be above for you. Just saying copy preserves the relationship between PA and AD, or key PA and additional PA. You just gotta keep in mind, why have an all-out fight over nothing? You have to think about whether or not this is a bridge you wanna burn over something that you can, you probably won't even remember the next day. Whatever stupid mistake happened, it's not worth fighting with your boss over. Obviously, unless it's a safety issue, then you have full grounds to fight it out. And here's the thing, in the heat of the moment, just saying copy is going to be your saving grace. Now, if you feel the need that you want to discuss it later on, you can. There's gonna be some time at wrap when the second is waiting around for, the G and the background breakdown, and, they are waiting for everyone in their out times. So there's gonna be some downtime. You can talk about what happened, like, hey, how do I make this better? Help me understand what I did wrong, and how do I not repeat that mistake? So definitely there is going to be a window for you to discuss if it really is eating at you and you don't really understand why the situation happened the way it did. So remember this, folks, just say copy. Being yourself, man, I feel like this is just hard in your everyday life, and trying to be yourself on set in the film world and your film career, it's a monumentous task. And let's be honest, it is super hard to be yourself. To start off, I will say that people that are comfortable in their own skin tend to do a little bit better. I quote like a little bit better. They at least deal with what comes with working in film a little bit better. And I know some of you might be thinking, of course I'm gonna be myself. Who else am I gonna be? If only it were, or life were that easy, right?
It's a hard knock life.
When working on a film set, there are a bunch of people, and with those loads of people come a lot of different personalities. It's impossible to get along with all of them, and that's not being negative, it's just a fact. Your goal on a film set is to not try and make everyone happy, and it's to not try and make friends with everyone either.
Oh, look, everyone wants to be friends with the new guy.
If you try to do that, you're gonna end up making no one happy. You'll end up with 0 friends, 0 real connections, or have real relationships built. And if you watch my other videos, you know that those real relationships, those real connections, is what gets you jobs. This is why it's important to be yourself. When you are yourself, you are going to attract the people that you mesh with best. This is where the most sincere connections are created, and they're going to benefit you the most. I will add this. It can be a little confusing trying to figure out how to be yourself, improving who you are, and trying to bend to the ways of the film world. For example, I'm an introvert. Now, a lot of people don't think I am one, but I am. It is hard for me to socialize and talk and, be open, but I have a good sense of humor, and I use my humor to get past that introvert barrier when I'm working on set. I use my humor to communicate more and better. And we talked about communication in tip number 5. And if you're trying to work on a film set, if you're trying to work in film, you need to know how to communicate clearly. Because as an introvert, I can be a little quiet or tend not to talk a lot, which can become a hindrance on my connection making ability. So I am staying true to myself while improving myself and also trying to bend to the ways of filmmaking. I'm not gonna go work on set and try to be this extrovert and talk to every single person, because one, that's gonna be super exhausting.
So tired. So tired.
Also, if I show up one day and I'm not that extroverted person that everyone believes me to be, everyone's gonna be like,
Hey, what's up with Amber?
those people I attracted with that facade I was putting up, they are gonna be like, hey, that's not really who she is, and then I have to kind of start all over and rebuild those relationships or start new relationships, and I have to start from scratch again. People can start to see you as fake, phony, two-faced, or might even be confused about who you are. And this comes down to trust. If they don't trust you, they're not going to give you job opportunities, they're not gonna hire you. A lot of people are not gonna wanna work with someone they don't really know. The how is the hard part, right? Everyone can tell you why you should be yourself, but actually doing it is the tough work. How to be yourself. Number 1 is to accept yourself. You really have to accept who you are. Accept yourself for who you are. Flaws, strengths, weaknesses, all the things that make you you, good or bad, accept who you are. Number 2 is gonna be celebrate your strengths. Everyone has some great, awesome things about them, and so do you. You know what you're good at. I don't know what you're good at. You know what you're good at. I mean, like I said before, for me, it's like I know my sense of humor is a strength, though it brings out good things in people when I communicate with a sense of humor. So find something that you know is your strong suit. Focus on all the things that you like about yourself. Use those things to your advantage. Celebrate your strengths. Celebrate the things that you are great at. So number 3 is express yourself. And I feel like this is a little bit tricky because expressing yourself is really hard for some people. Express your feelings. Feel feelings. If you're sad, be sad. If you're angry, be angry. If you're happy, be happy. Express yourself. Be excited about something if you're excited about something. Show all the range of emotions. Also, when you're expressing yourself, you are sometimes making a connection with other people around you, which is just going to help you reinforce great connections. I know how feel your feelings sounds, but you really have to. You know, feel the feelings that you're feeling. Feel the feelings that you're feeling. I kind of love that sentence, actually. Feel the feelings that you're feeling. But it can be tricky because here's the thing, is that when you're on set, you really have to stay strong. Who knows what happened on set? Stay strong in the face of everyone watching you, and then take a moment, go have 5 minutes or maybe on your lunch break or whatever and call your partner up, call a best friend, call a family member, or even go to your coworker on set and just vent. Get it all out, cry if you need to, scream if you need to, whatever you need to do to, you know, set yourself straight and express how you're feeling, do it. Just, you know, all I hope is that you're not screaming at anyone at the top of your lungs in the middle of set because, you know, we got things to shoot, people. Just go to the side and do what you have to do. You know, this one can be tough. For example, I may have just been yelled at by an actor right in my face in front of the whole cast and crew. True story. But in the moment, I'm gonna stay calm, I'm gonna make it right, I'm gonna calm the person down in front of me, and then when I have a moment to step away from set, I'm gonna call my husband and cry on the phone for 45 minutes of how disastrous everything is going on set. But then when I come back to set, I feel better. Express yourself. You have a right to express yourself, and it's only gonna make you feel better, and you're gonna be happier on set because of it. If you hold everything in, you're just gonna bottle up resentment and bitterness or whatever, and you will start to feel like you're not happy on set when you're trying to pursue your dream. And it's confusing when you're like, wait a minute, but this is my dream, but you're not happy. And it's because you're holding it all in. You gotta make sure you express yourself. So number 4 is going to be, I know this is very, very hard. I know it's hard for me, but don't kill yourself trying to figure out what people think of you. I know, I'm pretty sure you've heard this so many times, but you cannot kill yourself trying to figure out what, you know, XYZ crew member or producer or AD or key PA is thinking of you. Just be yourself through and through, and all the right people are going to come to you. Don't worry about the people who don't like you. Focus on the people that do like you and that are with you, you know, in the trenches with you by your side. Think about those people. You know, stay on the positive end. And number 5 is going to be learn from your mistakes. When you're first starting out in film, you're going to make mistakes. No one is perfect. Know that you're going to make mistakes, but with each mistake, you are going to learn from them. And that is the most important part about, you know, starting a career in film, is knowing that if you can at least learn and keep learning as you go, because even when you've been in the business for 10, 12, 15, 20 years, you're still gonna make mistakes and you are always learning. So don't beat yourself up if you've made a mistake. It is very hard to be perfect when you're just starting out in a film career, so do not be so hard on yourself. Know that you're gonna make mistakes and you're going to learn from them. Remember that this is the beginning for you. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you're either just starting out or you haven't even started just yet and you're looking to jump into film. So know that you can't be super negative and hate yourself because you've made a mistake. All of those things are going to help you get to know yourself better. And by knowing your true self, you can actually be yourself. Being yourself on set is gonna help you in so many ways. I mean, not only is it gonna be, you're gonna be happier on set, you're gonna be a stronger person on set, and overall, in life, it's just gonna benefit you as well. Not even just in your career or on set, it's like in your life, you're just gonna be happier and you're gonna feel more fulfilled if you are yourself. There are a lot of things that need to get done in film. There are a lot of leaders that need to delegate tasks, and there are a lot of decisions that have to be made when it comes to film, and all of those involve confidence. All right, let's just break it down. What is confidence? Confidence is the feeling or belief that you can rely on something or someone. Confidence is feeling a certain truth. Confidence is also a feeling of self-assurance. So I'll tell you what confidence is not. It is not thinking that you are better than anyone. It is not arrogance. It's also not self-esteem either. And it's not about being perfect. I think people confuse those with confidence a lot. A big misconception is that you either have confidence or you don't. But I am very, very glad to tell you that confidence is a skill that definitely can be developed. Confidence is the willingness to try things and trusting that you're gonna figure things out. Now, don't get me wrong. Having confidence doesn't mean everything's gonna go the right way. If things go great, perfect. But if things go bad, then you have to take something away from that. That's learning. You are learning from your mistakes. And I know I mentioned this in tip number 7. You are going to make mistakes starting out in your film career. And confidence is taking those mistakes and learning from them. And when you learn from that mistake, you get better at figuring things out each time and figuring out more things. Confidence is moving forward even though something might be scary. It's trying something new when trying to figure something out. Confidence is persistence. It is having a plan, executing that plan, even though the outcome may be uncertain. It's not about being right or knowing the answer. It's about knowing that you can find the answer. Ultimately, I think that confidence is about being a problem solver. So now that we talked about what confidence is and isn't, let's talk about confidence in film and how confidence translates to working in film. It can relate to film on and off set because there are things in the film industry in your film career that are gonna happen on set and off set doing other things. So let's talk about offset. I'm gonna start with getting jobs. Maybe you were scared to DM somebody, private message someone, or Facebook message someone, but you did it anyways, even though that person might be top-notch VIP in film. Maybe you figured out a new way to grab someone's attention. Maybe you're like me and are super antisocial, but you went to that film networking event anyways. You probably were uncertain, you were probably scared, but you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna see what happens. So you got that job when you private messaged the big VIP person, and now you're on set. Let's talk about confidence on set. I've said this many times before. Since you are new to film and you are just starting out, you are not gonna know everything. And when you're on set, sometimes it's gonna be up to you to figure some things out. They might give you a task and it's up to you to figure out how you go about completing the task. Your key PA or your assistant director that might be above you can't give you the step-by-step process on how to go about things when they give you something to do. As assistant director, I love when I can give a PA a task and they say copy, they go away, they come back, and it's completed. I don't care how you did it, just as long as it got done. You can really always tell when a person on set has confidence or not. I can tell right away when a PA is lost in the sauce, scared, don't know what is going on, and afraid to kind of figure things out for themselves. I love the PAs that are like, okay, what are you gonna throw at me? As an AD, I always pick the PA that I know I can trust with things. And I'm trusting to them that whatever happens, because things go wrong all the time, I'm trusting that they're going to problem solve and they're gonna figure things out. Otherwise, you're gonna have PAs calling you every 5 minutes when they're trying to do whatever thing you gave them because they can't figure it out on their own, or they're just too scared to implement their own solution. If you happen to be a set PA now and you kind of are a little bit bitter or resentful or jealous that another PA has been given more responsibility or more tasks than you, then start to look and see like, where am I showing this lack of confidence? So maybe you're like,
I have confidence, Amber, I have confidence.
but maybe you might be giving off signals that are saying to people that you don't have confidence. So how are you showing confidence? I really do believe that confidence is certainly a mindset. And how do you go about showing that confidence to the outside world? And I'm also going to say that you can use some of these to kind of fake it till you make it,
Fine, just do what I do. Fake it till you make it.
So maybe you are working on your confidence and trying to figure all that out, and you can use some of these things to, make yourself look a little bit more confident, and then it's like, gets the ball rolling for you. Let's just start with how you stand. How you stand is a big one. How you hold yourself. Are you slouching? Are you hunching over? Are you super tall and you're like making sure you're making yourself look smaller? Are your shoulders back? Is your head up? Is your head looking down? When I see someone like slouching, looking like this with their head down, that to me is like number one sign of that person has no confidence. So remember, stand tall, shoulders back, no hunching, no slouching. Hold yourself with a nice posture. All right, so let's talk about eye contact. Make sure to look people in their eyes. If you're looking down or away, it makes people not trust you, and that creates doubt. And this is a huge one we are talking to crew members, because if they ask you a question and you are planting the seed of doubt in them, they're never gonna believe anything you say.
Okay, I ask you a question, you have to think of the answer. Where do you look? No good. You look down, they know you're lying. And up, they know you don't know the truth.
And I've had this happen multiple times where I have walked up to a PA and a crew member talking, and they will ask them a question,
what time is lunch?
and the PA will say,
We're gonna break at lunch 5:30.
and the crew member comes straight to me and says,
Amber, what are we breaking for lunch?
5:30, and then he's like,
Okay, copy that.
and like walks away. You don't want crew members to doubt what you're saying because you are the voice of the AD on set. I gave the exact same answer as the other PA, but they believed me over them. It has everything to do with confidence and how I said it to them. The next one is how you talk. You have to talk calmly, clearly, not stuttering or talking too fast, not mumbling. How you talk is a sign of confidence or lack thereof. Also, this is a big one. I think it's just because I live in New York and I want to get all the things out of my brain as soon as possible, as I talk too fast. Sometimes talking too fast creates a trust issue. Like, they're not gonna believe anything you're saying. Also, think about the pitch that you're using. Like, if you're like way up here, like, when people do that, you're thinking, oh, this person is lying to me or whatever. And I do that a lot on set when I'm trying to make someone laugh, when I'm giving a sarcastic answer. If I say we're gonna wrap at 8, you believe me. But if I'm like, no, we could wrap at 8. So pitch matters too when you're talking about confidence and how you're talking. Fidgeting is another one, your body language. Now, how I'm standing here, I'm just standing tall, straight, but if I'm like, sometimes I do move around a lot in my videos just because I want some movement, but if I'm like, like doing things with my fingers and I'm trying to because I've seen a lot of girls, they like do this with their hair and they twirl their hair in their finger when they're like really nervous or something. So fidgeting is also a sign of like nervousness and a lack of confidence. And the next one is gonna be about your face. Now, if you are blessed with an animated face like myself, you know that it is hard sometimes to hide how you're feeling or hide that you're nervous and put on a brave face, So like poker face, I guess, would be the expression, and trying to just make sure your face stays calm and your face is not like outing you and creating that doubt or whatever the case may be when you're talking to a crew member or talking on set. You want to make sure that your face isn't selling you out. I can really go on about how confidence has helped me so much in my career and how really it is the secret sauce to life, basically. And if it wasn't for my confidence in myself and my ability and my problem solving skills, I probably would not be where I am today, or done all this cool stuff in my life, or even have this YouTube channel. When I think about me, I do consider myself to have confidence, but that doesn't mean I don't get nervous or have self-doubt or sometimes have negative thoughts about myself. That stuff still happens. I mean, I'm not bulletproof. You know, I still make mistakes. I'm far from perfect. I'm willing to try, and with everything I try, I know that, you know, I might do a couple things wrong, but I want to learn from all those things. Remember, having confidence is not about being perfect. It's about trying and learning. Networking with your peers. And this gets largely overlooked when people embark in the film career journey, and it really shouldn't, because it's really going to help you move up. First of all, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I hate using the word networking. Networking sounds very corporate-y, and if there's nothing I hate more, it's the corporate world.
I hate those corporate things.
So I'm sorry that I'm using the word networking. I prefer to use building relationships, building connections, making connections. I use networking because most folks know what networking and what I mean by networking. You get what I mean by networking, but networking, I feel like, is the lowest level of building relationships. It's like the bare minimum. Oh, I know this person. It's like having an acquaintance or something. It's not like having a friend. It's just like, oh, that guy I sort of know.
Who the hell is that?
I feel like it really goes deeper than just networking. Now, your peers are gonna be the folks who are on the same level as you, which I'm sure you know that. Now, when you're starting in the film industry, you're most likely gonna be a day player, additional set PA. And your peers are also gonna be that position, additional day player, set PAs. When folks start to enter the film industry, they can be a bit competitive, and that makes sense because it's a very competitive industry. A real big mistake that new set PAs make is having this mindset of it's me or them that is going to succeed. It's me that gets more responsibility or them. It's me that gets hired or them. It's me that moves up or them. They really have this like me against the world type mentality, or it's like only one person can win. You should see other PAs as allies, not enemies or competition to stomp out. And let me tell you, that mindset does not play out very well in the long run. To be honest, I feel like that mindset is negative, it's toxic, and not to mention is exhausting. I know that you'll have better opportunities, better relationships, and an overall better career if you shift your mindset to helping each other come up and succeed together. I love it when I hear about first ADs in the DGA now working on these big budget, you know, TV shows and movies about how 20 years ago they were PAs, or 25 years ago, or however long ago it was, how they came up together. Like, that's amazing to me. A lot of people grow together in the industry and are successful for it. It's really simple. They're just helping each other.
It's so simple.
So how do you do this? How are you gonna help other people come up? How are you coming up with other people in the industry? I think this might be easier said than done, but get to know other PAs, make friends, and exchange information. Get people's numbers.
Why didn't I think of that?
Now, this works for you twofold. The first one is that you have someone on set that you can commiserate with. Man, sometimes set days are super hard and you just have to vent and complain to someone sometimes. And if you're making friends with other PAs, they are the perfect people to, you know, relate to. They understand the stress that you're going through. So yeah, commiserate. There are some stressful and crazy things that happen on set and you might as well bond over them. Commiseration, it's the best. And the second reason is that key PAs, the main person that might be hiring you as an additional PA, is going to need a lot of people. And sometimes they just do not have enough phone numbers in their phone to, you know, book the PAs for that day that, you know, you have to lock up Times Square, or, you know, you have to block off 18 different streets. They just don't have enough names in their phone. So then you have a friend that, you know, your name and number is in their phone, you bond with them, you make connections, and now they can give your information to that key PA that you didn't know. So that is basically how your name gets thrown out there and recommended, and then soon you're gonna get texts from people you don't even know because your name's been passed along so much. And you also get the joy of recommending your PA buddy when maybe you're booked already and you're like, hey, contact so-and-so, they might be available, and you pass their name on. So it's like I love when I can return the favor. And I feel like this goes without saying, but When it comes to recommending people, people remember the ones that they're friends with and they like, and I hate saying that, but it's kind of like, if I don't talk to you or we're not really friends and we're not really conversing at all during the day, the chances of them recommending me to a key PA that needs more PAs is it's a very low percentage.
That's gonna happen! No, not gonna happen!
And this even goes up the line when you're a staff PA, when you're additional AD, when you're, being a second AD or a producer or whatever. Like these things, like that system happens all the way up the chain. I'm not gonna pass on someone's info that was like an asshole to me on set or, that was rude to me. Like, yeah, sure, you were great at locking up, but you were a dick. So no, I'm not gonna pass your name on to some key PA that needs PAs so you can get more work. No, I'm not doing you any favors. So think about that. Man, people always remember when you treated them like shit. Always remember that. They are always gonna remember that day you blew them off or didn't say good morning, or maybe you yelled at them, made them feel horrible and didn't apologize for it. People always remember when you treated them like garbage. I know we're talking about peers, but when you start moving up, I feel like what happens is that, you're nice, like there are some people who are nice with people above them and on the same level, but then they move up a little bit and they treat everyone that is like on the lower ranking below them like crap. And I hate when I see that. It's like, you should treat everyone with respect. Like, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you should at least be civil with everyone, or at least like be professional. There's no reason to treat the ones below you like garbage. And I've seen this happen so many times and I hate seeing this. Building relationships, making connections, and networking with your peers, whatever you want to call it, is just going to make for a more fruitful career for you. I'm definitely in the camp of believing that there is enough out there, there is enough success to be had for everybody. There's no reason why it has to be me versus you versus that person, or me versus the other woman on set, because sometimes I've seen that where it's like you have a few women in a room and like all of a sudden they're like pinned against each other. Both women can succeed together. It can happen. There's enough room for everyone's success because not everyone has the same goals. Everyone has different things they're doing at different times. So there's room for everyone to succeed. So be positive and just help each other out. Making friends on set. Now, I know making friends sounds a little grammar school or grade school or elementary school or however you say it in your part of the world. I think most people say primary school. Either way, making friends is super important when it comes to your film career.
It's primary school stuff. How can you not know that?
Now, I know what some of you guys might be thinking. With tip number 9, we talked about making connections, building relationships, networking with your peers. I think this might be easier said than done, but get to know other PAs, make friends, and exchange information. Get people's numbers. So if you're a PA, you'll be making friends with other PAs, right? Now this one is a little bit different. Now this doesn't involve just the people who are on your level, but it talks about everybody on set. Below you, above you, beside you, everybody that you encounter, all departments, all backgrounds, when it comes to people on set. When you start as a set production assistant, or maybe even an office production assistant, you need to take advantage of the opportunities that are around you. And what I mean by opportunities are the people around you. Start conversations with the people that you're in the office with or on set with, different departments. You're not always gonna be around other PAs when you are trying to, network with your peers, and you're gonna be around a lot of different people. They might be in camera, they might be in electric department, they might be props, they might be set dressing, they could be writers, directors, they could be grips. Anybody that's around different departments, you should be making friends with them. Strike up conversations, ask questions. And yes, I really do mean the director, and I really do mean the writer, and I really do mean the producers. Don't be afraid to talk to these people because they always want to talk to different people too. And sometimes those positions can be a little bit lonely because people are kind of like, oh, I need to leave the director or the producer or the writer, I need to leave them alone. But sometimes they are looking to talk to some people too. So yes, I'm not saying bother people, but you should be able, if you are dying to ask a question to maybe a director of photography, you know, you can ask those questions. And I have been around a DP, a director of photography, and I had a burning question and I was like, hey, how did you get started? And I really wanted to know because I knew nothing about him, and it really helped me get to know him, and I found out a lot about him that I was just like, whoa, I was blown away. So you never know. Start conversations, ask questions. I will be the first to tell you that I have gained such a network of friends, people I love working with, just based on all the union sets I've worked on and the indie sets I've worked on. I've gained such a network of people in all different types of departments. Okay, I really have sold this whole making friends in different departments things, but why do you do this? Why should you be making friends with people in different departments on set? This is like the number one reason.
Okay, listen up, ponies.
If you are a production assistant, maybe you're an office PA, maybe you're a set PA, doesn't matter. I'm gonna include office PAs in this one because it definitely applies. If you are a PA and you're trying to leap from the production assistant, AD track, or assistant director department, you're trying to jump from, maybe you want to be props, maybe you want to be in camera, maybe you want to be a writer's assistant. You want to leap from being a PA to a different discipline in a different department. You're going to make friends with those people. You're going to find out how they did it. That's the number one way to get out of being a PA and jumping into a different department and position, is talking to people and making friends with people in the department that you want to be in. Having friends in higher places is not going to hurt you at all, and it just makes things a little bit easier for you, a little bit more enjoyable, and you never know what's going to come your way from those people in higher places. And those people often offer positions to PAs they got to know. You're going to be surprised on how many offers or opportunities or positions that might be offered to you as a PA from those people that you made friends with in higher places. When you are striking up conversations, when you are talking to people and making friends on set, I just want you to remember one thing. If there's one thing I want you to take from this video, is remember to talk about your goals. And this usually is going to come up naturally in conversation because that's usually the first question you get asked, like, hey, what do you want to do in the industry? And you can tell them, I want to be a writer, I want to be a director of photography, I want to be a gaffer, whatever the case may be. Talk about your goals. Remember to talk about your goals. Now, I'm not saying, you know, thrust your goals upon people and talk about them. Remember to talk about your goals when the thing comes up naturally in conversation, you know, don't just awkwardly just bring it up like, hey, I want to be this, help me out. If I was trying to leap from being a production assistant to some other thing on set, making friends with the people of that department or that position is going to be the fastest way you get there. You get to your goal, you get to that position that you want. For me, I'm not trying to be in a different department. I have found my calling. My goal is to be a DGA first AD. It's a long road, but do I talk to people and tell people that? Yes, I do, because I know that as long as people know the route that I want to take, there are people out there who are going to want to help me. As I said before, I've made friends in all different types of departments, and I had a friend in the electrics department, and he asked me one day, he said, Amber, what are you trying to do in the industry? What do you want to be? And I said, obviously, DGA, first AD, want to be making big giant movies, that's what I want to do. He did say something that I'll always remember. He did say I would be an excellent AD. I'm going to be an excellent first AD. So those are the type of things that just like keep you going on set when you're like having a bad day. That type of thing is like one of the biggest compliments that I could ever take for someone who's actually in the industry and sees potential in me. That just adds to my next point. Having friends on set outside of your peers just makes your time on set more enjoyable. You're getting to know the people around you, you're making friends. When you are making movies with friends or making TV with friends, it just makes for an all-around better time. There was a time where I made a feature film and it was a not that good of an experience, and after I got done with this feature film, I almost left the film industry and I just didn't want to work in film. And then I had a friend of mine say, hey, you know, I'm making this thing. I know I probably can't afford you, but are you available? And because he was a friend and I loved making stuff with him, I was like, yes, I will work for free for you, because I needed to get back on set and make something with friends and people that I liked making things with. Making friends in the industry really can save you sometimes. Not having friends on set It's gonna be a bad time, guys.
You need to get out there and make some friends, man.
And outside of it just being a better time on set, when you start moving up, I mean, the film community is very small, so you're gonna see the same faces over and over again. You wanna make more allies on set than enemies, trust me. So when you have more friends and more allies, when you're moving up, like for example, when I'm a first AD in the union and then my friend Annabelle, who is a camera loader now, she might be a DP when I'm a first AD and then we end up being on a show together, then automatically it's like my job probably got 100 times easier because we're friends. It's like we're an ally. We know how each other work, and it's just going to be a little bit more, you know, that corporate synergy.
First of all, never badmouth synergy.
That like corporate word called synergy. But I really do mean that. It's like the more allies you have in all the departments, the easier your day gets, especially for someone who's in the AD department. If you're a PA trying to be an AD, you need more allies than you need enemies. And I just really, right now, want to break the whole thing about the first AD being an asshole, because you can still do your job without being an asshole on set. You know, we're like planting the positive seeds now for the positive future that you're gonna have. May not be next year and 5 years or whatever, but you know, you're planting the positive seeds now. All of those genuine relationships that you build stay with you throughout your career. Now, and I don't want you to get me wrong on this, I am not saying make friends with everybody. Make friends on set, it is very important, but none of this like fake two-faced thing. Learn how to be civil, learn how to be professional. If you don't mesh with somebody, that's fine. You don't need to be everyone's best friend. So remember that. It's like, I'm talking about like making real friends with people. But remember this, it is who you know. It is 100% who you know in the industry, unfortunately. And people are always gonna remember whether or not you respected them, whether or not you treated them great, whether or not you treated them like crap, whether or not you treated them like garbage. They're always gonna remember how you treated them, how you made them feel, and how they felt working with you. So the moral of the story, putting all these videos together, the moral of the story is don't be an
Why didn't I think of that?
I couldn't do 10 tips, 10 videos, 10 days without talking about how to get film jobs. I know for a fact you are waiting for me to directly address how to get jobs. And just an FYI, all of the tips will help you in your pursuit to get jobs directly or indirectly. Have I talked about how to get jobs? Yes. Are those videos old? Oh yeah. And some of the info hasn't really changed, to be honest. I mean, there's gonna be a few more apps, different social media, or different websites you're gonna use, but you're gonna be doing the same thing. You're gonna be applying for jobs, and you're gonna try and stand out. All right, starting out. Starting out means you have 0 contacts. You know 0 people in the industry, and you're trying to break in. This is the hardest stage. This is the hardest stage. This is the suckiest stage. This is the stage where you get most depressed, most down on yourself, because you're just like, I need my in. No one knows you, no one can vouch for you. So you're at the mercy of the people you're applying to, just hoping and praying and manifesting they just give you a shot. And don't underestimate the power of manifestation. Do not. And you might get lucky. You might apply to 10 jobs or 10 people on LinkedIn. Yes, use LinkedIn, yes. And get a hit, an interview or a job on set. Or you can be like me, who had to email. Yes, you should send those cold emails. Hundreds, if not thousands of people just trying to get my first gig. The most important thing at this stage, at the beginning, starting out, sucky stage, do not give up. Persistence.
Do not give up.
Do not give up. Something will give. Your job right now is to stay positive and visualize that job on set. The next important thing is to not be afraid to DM someone or private message someone. Don't be afraid. Send that message. No second thoughts. Just send the message. What's the worst that can happen? You'll just be ignored, or they'll say no. That's literally the worst thing that can happen. You're probably thinking,
Who the hell am I gonna DM?
This is where you get started. Take a favorite independent movie. Maybe it's, for example, Tangerine. Go to the IMDb page. Now, on this IMDb page, you're gonna find all the names of the people who worked on this movie. Now, you take that name, you put it into Google and find out where their social media is and send them a direct message. Send them over Instagram, send it over Twitter or Facebook. Start sending messages to people. Say, hey, how did you get started? So maybe you're not sure what an indie movie is, right? You're like,
Amber, how the hell do I know if it was a studio movie or if it was an independent movie?
Now here's here's a good way to do it. And here's some good ones, right? Some good independent movies. Just look up the Spirit Awards. The Spirit Awards is a independent movie only award show. And look up the movies that won, look up the movies that were nominated or even like considered to win an independent Spirit Award. You're gonna find some really good ones in there. Then you take that movie from the Independent Spirit Awards that was nominated, and then you take it to IMDb, and then you go from there. If they don't have social media, then just move on and try the next person, try the next movie. Okay, so you found the gaffer from the movie Tangerine, right? You found the gaffer, you find their information, then you're like,
Amber, what do I do now? What do I say to this person?
pretty simple. I mean, it could be the questions that are on your mind, and this is usually the question on everyone's mind. How did you get where you are today? How did you get started? What have you done to get where you are? How did you become successful? You know, not all of those questions in one email. Pick one or two and say, hey, I'm looking to be you one day, and I look up to you, and what did you do to get where you are? And you're gonna do this a few times, or a few hundred times, or maybe up to 1,000 times. You never know how long it's gonna take, but you're gonna be writing a lot of emails, a lot of direct messages. Just know that. It's not gonna be like the first 5 people that you contact. But know this, know that there are people that are working in the industry, that are working on big budget movies, that are working in the union, that are willing to help people like you. And don't be afraid of their response. Don't be afraid of what they might say back to you, because it could be like so many great things that come your way. You never know. And like I said before, the worst that can happen is they say, okay, don't email me again, or no, or they just ignore you, which usually for me, that's the worst thing, just being ignored. But don't be afraid of the response. You never know what could come of it. You could get a position, you could get a job, you could get something out of it. My next suggestion. I feel like you guys weren't ready for these suggestions. My next suggestion is this. You might be from a small town. You're not from New York or LA. So this is what you're gonna do. Maybe you're from Oklahoma City. Maybe you're from Buffalo, New York. So what you're gonna do is you're in one of these smaller cities, and you're gonna find a movie that was shot in your city. And you're gonna take that movie, you're gonna go to IMDb. Yes, we keep going back to IMDb for a reason. And you're gonna look up the crew members who might have been production assistants, who might have been the key production assistant. And the reason why I'm saying that is because usually when a movie shoots in a smaller town, they have to hire some local people. So that means that someone in your town worked on a movie and you want to get to know that person. So send them a message and say,
Hey, I am interested in working in film. I saw that you worked on XYZ movie. Is there any way that you could give me some tips?
Who knows what can happen. This is someone who's gonna be on your level and or just above you, and they're gonna be in your town, so they might have they might have information that you just don't have. Those PAs live near you, or they might live near you. Network with those PAs, get to know them, connect with them, form a connection with them. Hell, just offer to buy them a coffee or buy them lunch just to pick their brain. And I actually have had this. Someone messaged me and said, hey, I'm in the area. I would love to pick your brain. Can I buy you a coffee? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I can give you an hour of my time. Why not? Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Also, those people might be doing some smaller projects, so just email them and say, hey, is there anything I can help you on the next time you make something, or the next time you might need someone? I'm willing to help you. Offer free labor on the weekends if you can. It really can go a long way. That's basically how I got my in. My first job ever was a camera assistant on a feature film that was shooting on the weekends, and I worked for free, and it was like 8 weekends in a row. All right, let's talk about film websites, job websites, film production job websites. Let's talk about those for a second. Now, honestly, there are so many now, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't use film websites, but there are people out there who get jobs from staffmeup.com, mediamaps.com, mandy.com, nycfilmcrew.com, stage32.com, and I'll leave a list of these in the description below. So if you're like, I need all these film websites, feel free, I'll have a list there. But I mean, just Google film production job websites, a bunch is gonna come up. I never had a lot of luck with any of those, and a lot of these are like a pay per, like subscription based service. So, I mean, I just don't like that. They make people who are looking for jobs pay for a service.
Dare you? How dare you?
and it really bothers me. That's where I fall, and that's why I'm not gonna push these websites. But if you believe that you could get jobs from that tactic and these websites, by all means, I will leave the information here for you. Now, let's talk about apps. Now, outside of websites, there are going to be a number of apps that you are able to make a profile on, and then you're able to apply to certain jobs that might be posted in your area when they need people. And those apps are the Available app, Crew Me Up, Freelance Film Crew, and Copy That for Film Crew. I'll leave those in the description below. Those I am on as well. I don't get jobs from those because most of my jobs come from the network that I have created for myself. But when you're starting out, you might find these apps useful. So definitely get on these apps, make a profile. Some of them let you have your resume on there, some of them put your availability on there, so don't be afraid to use these apps. Now, we gotta talk about Facebook. And I feel like Facebook is on the edge of the beginning of dying out with the new generation coming up and like people just being like F Facebook, but I will tell you that Facebook groups are a huge factor in how I get a lot of my jobs that are like outside of my circle. Usually when I get a job, an indie gig or first AG gig that to do a feature in some random city, it's usually because someone recommended me to this job post that was in this group on Facebook. So if you're not on Facebook, join Facebook, and all you have to do to find certain groups is do a search and then click groups, and then you're gonna type film plus your city and jobs. There's like a film community for almost every city out there, bigger cities and smaller cities. When you get down to like smaller communities, then try to do the city that is closest to you. Now, joining the groups on Facebook is the easy part. The hard part is actually making sure you have your notifications on for that group and getting to the job post before 50 other people actually applied. So you have to pay attention to your notifications. And this is very nerve-wracking, but the way this works is that you have to kind of be like the top or the first, like the first handful of people that are going to apply for the job. And you have to make sure you are paying attention to the directions that the person that posted that job, what they wanted you and how they wanted you to apply. Whether it's email this email, don't message me, don't comment, or comment your website, or they're gonna give you certain directions and you make sure you follow them, because if you don't follow them, it really annoys them. There's nothing I hate more than putting directions in a post when I need certain people or I have to hire certain people for a job and they don't follow the directions. That is a surefire way of you not getting the job.
Real talk is facts.
I'm sorry, but if you can't follow the application directions correctly, then I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be able to follow directions on set very well either. With all of that, you should take away these two things. The first thing is do your research. Google is your friend. If you don't know something, put it in Google. You're gonna find an answer. Trust me on this, trust me. And the second thing is do not be afraid to reach out to people. Also, I have to mention this. If you happen to have someone tell you, yes, you know, reach out to me when you're in said city, or maybe you're in Las Vegas, hey, reach out to me when you're back in Buffalo, or whatever. Cash in on those things. When someone offers their information to you, their email to you, and says, hey, when you're in this city, when you're looking for a job, when you graduate, whatever the case may be, when they say, hey, I'm offering this opportunity in the future, cash in. Email those people. I have talked to so many people and I'm always surprised when they go,
yeah, I had this professor, he was in my fraternity, and he said if I'm ever out in Florida, you know, to give him a call, but I was kind of apprehensive and I don't really know if I should.
Yes, you should call that person. You should email that person. I honestly can't believe when people are like,
Amber, I didn't think I should email them.
What? Cash in on those opportunities, because those opportunities, when people offer up their help, it's like rare and you want to make sure you cash in. Don't be stupid. I'm saying it. Don't be stupid. As far as I'm concerned, those are like freebies. Those are free. It's like a magical thing that is like presented to you and it's a gift. Take it. Some other ways you can try and find jobs. Take advantage of the organizations you might be in high school, that you were in college, alumni, sororities, fraternities. There are all types of organizations that you can reach out to people. Your network is bigger than you think. Remember, always reach out to people, because what's the worst that can happen? They say no, they say don't email me anymore, or they just ignore you. And honestly, that's like the worst case scenario. So if you're like having anxiety about, hey, what can happen? I just told you the scenario. And it's, I mean, rejection, you're gonna have to, if you can't handle rejection of like someone ignoring you or saying no over email, how are you gonna handle being rejected when you start applying to like bigger jobs? You have to get comfortable with being rejected. So this is like perfect time. Just starting out, might as well start with people you're trying to get tips about the industry from. They say no, and then you just move on to the next.
I'm so sorry. Next, please.
And I don't really want to say that it's a numbers game, but it's a numbers game. So that has been my bonus tip, and that is really the end of my 10 days, 10 tips, 10 videos, actually 11 because I gave you a bonus. I really hope that you got something from this video, and if you have, give me a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments if there is something in this video that made you go, duh, like why? Like maybe you had an epiphany. Maybe it was like something that was obvious, you just, you know, just had it staring right in front of you and you just like, why didn't I just, duh. Every time I give this type of advice, I'm always shocked at the response I get. So if you had one of those, oh, duh, of course moments, please let me know in the comments below. I just want to end this video letting you know that the very challenging, sucky starting out phase does not last forever. Those are your initial contacts. As you get your first job and you meet more people, you're not gonna need to rely on apps and websites and Facebook groups, and every now and then you're gonna want to expand your circle and then you'll start to do that, but you're not gonna have to rely on all of these things to get consistent work. It will grow and you'll get more and more jobs as you go, and it gets a lot easier because I am definitely at that stage where, you know, I get offered jobs and I don't have to apply to jobs as much anymore, and it's a really great feeling knowing that I got through that super hard struggle of the beginning stages of starting out. So just know it does not last forever.